Hello guys, this is part 4 of Lockroom Obsession. I don't have much to say. All I have to say, there is a lot of grammatical error and this was rushed, but I hope you guys enjoy, and as always I love you, my stank-a-bugs pulsating heart. Disclaimer, I do not own any of the haikyuu characters or art said. This is not how I view the haikyuu characters. This is just for pure entertainment. Warning, language might not be suitable for audience under the age of 13. That's all I have to say. On to the video. While Atsumu and Sakusa were walking down the street, someone lurking in the shadows was watching them. It's only then that Sakusa realizes he's not really dressed for a midnight walk. I didn't bring a jacket, Sakusa mumbles under his breath, annoyed that he's already cold. Atsumu, who was still wearing his practice clothes, looked down at his uniform jacket. Atsumu sighs, "Here, you can have mine." Atsumu takes off his jacket, wraps it around Sakusa. Sakusa stared at him in his eyes, almost dumbfounded. This wasn't how he was expecting tonight to go. "Are you sure?" Sakusa questioned, taking the jacket delicately. "You'll be cold, then." Atsumu looks at him and smiles a soft smile. "I can handle the cold. You can't. Look at you, you're already shivering," Atsumu says as he digs his hands in his pockets. "I'm not." Sakusa denies it at first, but he can't when another shiver passes over him. His arms slip into the sleeves of the jacket, and he zips it up. He mumbles a quiet, "Thanks." Atsumu continued walking. "Yeah, no problem. Just know you also owe me for that one," Atsumu said with a snicker. Sakusa thought to himself, "You've got to be kidding me. What do you mean, I owe you?" he asked, stopping abruptly. "There's no way I'm owing you anything. Now, I'm also human. I'm not immune to the cold. You're the one who offered me your jacket," Sakusa points out. "No one forced you to give it up. That's your fault, not mine." Atsumu looks down at the ground and continues walking, and then says in a soft tone of voice, "I know, I just wanted to." Sakusa thought to himself, "Damn it." Now he felt guilty for being so snippy with Atsumu. He knows that Atsumu was only being nice, and for some reason, that just makes his chest tighten. Sakusa tried to speak again, but the words died on his tongue again. He stays quiet this time as he walks, not wanting to pick another petty argument. They both walk the rest of the way silently until they get to Atsuma's place. Just the wind whooshing about and the trees and branches swooshing against each other. Sakusa walks beside Atsumu, and the silence between them is comfortable, but it gives him a bit too much time to think. The guilt from earlier eats away inside of him, and he can't help but want to apologize somehow. When Atsumu reaches his house, he stands there with his hands shoved into his pockets, not wanting to leave just yet despite wanting to get back to the comfort of his own home. Atsumu steps up on porch and turns to say, "Thank you for walking me. Sorry for making everything so awkward, and it was nice meeting you," Atsumu says as he rings the doorbell to his house. Sakusa stands there, watching as Atsumu steps up on the porch. He opens his mouth to speak, but the words don't come out like he wants them to. "It's fine, he replied, somewhat stiffly. "You don't need to apologize." Sakusa pauses for a moment, his mind scrambling to think of something to say or do before Atsumu goes back inside. He stutters out, before taking a deep breath. "Can I ask you a question?" Atsumu's eyebrows rise up. For a second, Sakusa falters. Should he really ask? Is it not a stupid question? Would it make him look stupid? But for some reason, the words spill out anyway, and there's no way to take them back. "Why did you give me your jacket?" Sakusa asks, not quite looking Atsumu in the eye. Atsumu smiles and replies, "I told you already, I was just trying to be nice, and you look like you can stand the cold." He shakes his head at that. He sighs. "You're not getting it. I mean, why did you specifically give me your jacket? Why were you being nice to me, even though I was being not particularly nice to you?" Atsumu hums and says, "I honestly don't know. I just feel like you're putting up an act and you're not actually all the mean. And because you're walking me home." At that, Sakusa blinks, a little dumbfounded. Sakusa stutters, pausing for a moment. He tries to speak again but doesn't know what to say. He's not sure what he was expecting Atsumu to say, but he certainly wasn't expecting that. He looks a bit out of his element, completely lost in what to say or do to respond properly. Atsumu pats his head. "It's fine. I know someone has probably never told you that," Atsumu says as he lets out a little chuckles. He turns his head as he hears the door unlocking. "Well, I'll see you sometime in the neighborhood then. You can keep the jacket for tonight. Just return it soon." A stunned look is on Sakusa's face when Atsumu pat his head. To say he's not used to being touched in a friendly manner is an understatement. Atsumu's words surprised him, too. His mouth hangs open a bit, speechless at what he said. He's about to speak again, say something in response to everything Atsumu said, but the door opening distracts him. He looks at Atsumu for a second longer, trying to remember how to speak. Why yeah, he stutters out. I'll bring it back soon. MHMC yeah later. Atsumu's voiced as he walked inside. As Atsumu walks inside, the person behind him that looked identical but a different hair color to him slips his head through the crack of the door. Osamu stared Sakusa down. Sakusa stays there for a moment, watching as Atsumu walks inside. Then, when Atsumu's twin brother looks at him, he stiffens instinctively. A shiver goes down his back, and he can't help the slight fear that the brother has some kind of murderous intent. Who are you? Osamu asked coldly as he stared at Sakusa up and down. Sakusa straightens up, swallowing back the lump in his throat as he looks up to meet Atsumu's brother's eyes. Sakusa Kayumi, he answers. Atsumu helped me with my dog when I was getting chased by a pit bull today. Osamu cocked his eyebrows. Is that so? Well, I don't want yo. Osamu gets cut off as Atsumu pulls him back inside and slams the door shut. The shut of the door happens so fast it makes Sakusa jump slightly. Sakusa's eyes widened a bit, surprise written over his expression. He's not sure what just happened, but it seemed like Atsumu brother was about to say something not good. Atsumu knocks on the window nearest to the door. Sakusa's head darts towards the window when he hears the knock, shocked at Atsumu's back. Sakusa walks over to the window, looking up at Atsumu with a questioning look. Once Atsumu sees his, he mouths, "I'm sorry about that, see you later, thank you once again," with a smile. Sakusa's eyes soften at the sight of Atsumu apologizing. He nods in acknowledgement, and tries his best to give a subtle smile back. However, he's not really good at smiling, and it looks more like a grimace than anything. Yet, he mumbles in a quiet voice, barely above a whisper, "See you later." Osamu yells at Atsumu, "Who the hell was that? Is it any of your business?" "Actually it is, since I'm your twin brother." "Doesn't mean you gotta know everything." "Yes it does." "Does not." "Does too." "Does not." "Shut your mouth." "You shut your mouth." "But you should tell me anything, I'm always there for you and never mean to you." "The twin that hid the keys from me so I couldn't get inside the house?" "The twin that made me walk in the cold when you could have just drove the car to pick me up." I can go on. "Oh, now when you say that it made me sound like a terrible brother." "Ya think?" "Never mind about that. How was closing up the gym with Suna?" Osamu said as he walked into the kitchen to take out some dinner that he made while Atsumu was gone and gave it to his twin. Atsumu sat down at the dining table and began devouring the food, completely ignoring what his twin asked him. Osamu smacks Atsumu on the back of the neck, almost causing Atsumu to choke on his food. "Hey, what was the for?" "I asked a question, not you're not answering me, idiot." "Well, it was fine," Atsumu say as he answered with a slight disgust in his voice, fidgeting in his seat. "Atsumu, do you think I don't know you? I know when you're lying to me. We're twins, for God's sake, I know when something's off with you." Osamu says quietly with a hint of irritation in his voice. Atsumu says in a soft tone of voice, "Right, you do. So, what's up with you, and who is that guy?" "He's cute." Atsumu stops eating. "I call dibs on him." "Sure you do, but you can't have both though." Atsumu pauses for a moment and looks at his twin shocked. "What do you mean I can't have both?" "You know what I mean." "I really don't." "Do you think I'm stupid? You don't see how Suna looks at you?" Atsumu goes silent. "So you do, and have taken it that he confessed to you already." "Yeah, he did." "What did you say?" "I said something stupid." "Did you reject him?" "No." "So what did you say?" "I challenged him if he can make me fall for him in a month." "Atsumu, you know graduation is just a month from now." "I do." "So let me ask you this, do you actually like him back, or are you just leading him on?" "I like girls." "I don't like him." "If he was a girl, sure, but other than that, no." "That's disgusting." "What did you just say?" "It's disgusting to like a guy when you're a guy. It's just not right." Osamu turns around and walks upstairs silently, leaving Atsumu at the table all by himself. "Did I say something wrong?" Atsumu says as he thinks to himself. Is at practice and Osamu been giving him the silent treatment since last night. Atsumu still doesn't know what he said to make his twin brother not speak to him. Atsumu looks across the volleyball court and sees Suna staring at him and looks away. Atsumu thought to himself, what is problem? Suna couldn't contain how upset he was. Throughout the volleyball practice the tired male was playing, but his eyes were mainly on Atsumu. His eyes twitched as he saw Atsumu wrap his jacket around Sakusa. Something in him ticked upon seeing that. He was getting jealous. At the end of practice Atsumu tries to talk to Suna, but Suna keeps walking away from him or just blatantly ignores him. So Atsumu waits till the very end of practice until practically no one is in the gym or locker room, just him and Suna. "Hey Suna, are you giving me the cold shoulder?" Atsumu says as he opens his locker and starts taking off his shoes to change into his school uniform. Suna was changing quietly in the locker room when he heard Atsumu's voice, but he didn't look at him. "You could say that." he said shortly while putting on his shirt. He didn't mean to come off rude, but seeing Atsumu put his jacket around Sakusa made him go into defensive mode. But why? You put your jacket around Sakusa, he mumbled out, still putting on his shirt. He was starting to get moody from the thought of Sakusa wearing Atsumu's jacket. He didn't like the thought of it one bit. Atsumu argued. He was cold. And you know Sakusa, so you could have let him freeze. He mumbled out, getting an attitude already. And yes, I know him. How do you know him? Atsumu cocked his head back to look at Suna and smirked. Are you jealous? He went silent for a few minutes, still facing his back at Atsumu. He didn't want to admit it. He didn't like the fact he was getting jealous of Sakusa. I'm not jealous, he mumbled out, not wanting to admit it. Atsumu takes off his shirt, slowly putting it into the locker. Whatever you say, but I think Sakusa is actually not that bad of a person. I helped him out and he helped me out. That's all there's to it. The tired male flinched at the fact Atsumu took off his shirt and put it into the locker. He almost turned around but held himself back from doing so. Upon hearing the praise of Sakusa, he couldn't help but bite the inside of his cheek. He didn't want to hear Atsumu talk about him in a positive way. He's annoying, if that's what you think. Atsumu looks back to see Suna facing the wall. Why are you being so shy now? I'm not being shy. I'm just changing, he mumbled out, trying to find an excuse for his behavior. He wasn't able to admit that the real reason for it was because Atsumu was half naked next to him. If you say so. Suna wanted to stay looking at the locker, but it was starting to get hard to control himself as Atsumu was right next to him, all half naked like that. He let out a huff. You're not decent right now, you know that, right? I know, that's the whole point. Just forget about what happened with Sakusa. You have me right now, and remember, you have a whole month to make me fall for you, Atsumu says while walking towards where Suna is standing. Suna tried to keep his eyes on the locker, but as Atsumu walked past him, it was almost like the sight of Atsumu just called for him to look. Suna knew Atsumu was trying to manipulate him in some way with his body. As Atsumu passed by, he turned his head, his eyes looking directly at his body. A whole month? Yeah, I still have time. Atsumu looks back and catches Suna looking at him and looks him straight in his eyes. But Suna, it isn't a whole lot of time, Atsumu says as he walked in Suna's direction, not losing eye contact with him until he is close enough to the point Suna can feel Atsumu's breath on the back of his neck. Suna was lost in his thoughts for a few minutes till he felt Atsumu breath on the back of his neck. Being so close to him, he shivered immediately when Atsumu did that, and as soon as he felt your breath, it snapped him back to the real world and realized how close Atsumu was to him. He was speechless for a few moments, his eyes meeting Atsumu before he spoke. What do you mean it's not a lot of time? He said with a shaky voice. Suna, you know exactly what I mean, Atsumu says as he wraps his arms around Suna's neck. This was driving Suna crazy. His heart was thumping rapidly as Atsumu clung onto his neck. His body was getting hot again as Atsumu wrapped his arms around him. He felt Atsumu's body heat on his body, and it felt absolutely amazing. He let out a shaky breath before wrapping his arms around Atsumu's waist, keeping his eyes connected with Atsumu while the heat continued to rise. Suna was quick to initiate a kiss on Atsumu, pulling his body closer against him. His lips pressed against Atsumu. He quickly deepened the kiss, his tongue licking Atsumu's bottom lip and begged for access into his mouth. Atsumu's tongue was now exploring the inside of Suna's mouth, rapping and playing with his tongue as the kiss became more passionate. Suna held Atsumu close to him with his arms wrapped around him tightly, not wanting to let him go. Atsumu hands trailed down Suna's body while going deeper into the kiss. Atsumu can feel his body melting at every touch. Suna felt Atsumu's hands trailing down his body. He let out a small moan into the kiss as Atsumu hands explored each part of his body. Suna's body was getting hotter with the touch of Atsumu's hands on his skin. His heart was beating fast and it was clear he was enjoying every single moment of this. As the kiss broke, he was short on breath and slightly panting as he spoke to Atsumu. Haikyuu. He was completely at a loss of words. His mind was all hazy from that kiss. His breathing was uneven and he was still holding Atsumu tightly against him. Atsumu was breathing heavily too. He never felt this type of feeling and connection with anyone before. Atsumu says as he smirks. He was still trying to catch his breath and his train of thought all the while. His smirk was making his heart skip a beat. He spoke with a shaky voice, still holding on to Atsumu tightly. You drive me crazy. Atsumu looks into Suna's eyes and says, it's the same for me, Suna. I don't want to stop. Atsumu says softly. He kept his eyes locked on yours, being hypnotized by your eyes. He suddenly stopped and pulled back a bit as he raised an eyebrow. What are we? Atsumu dropped his arms from Suna's shoulder. We're just friends, until I actually feel something for you. Suna felt a bit of pang in his heart when when Atsumu said that, he understood and knew that he still didn't have any feelings for him. Right, friends, Suna mumbled out as he let go of Atsumu and lowered his hands off his waist. He already missed the feel of Atsumu's body against his. He let out a sigh as he spoke once more with a saddened look on his face. So that means this is all just fake, right? What are you talking about? We had a deal. If you can make me fall for you in a month, then I'm yours. I am enjoying this, but I have no feelings involved for you right now. Hearing you mention the original deal made him remember the initial reason he was doing all of this. He nodded his head slowly at Atsumu's response. Oh, right. You're still under the impression that you aren't going to fall in love with me. He said this with a little bit of cockiness in his voice. He was still somewhat confident he'd made Atsumu fall for him in the next 30 days. Let me take you on a date tomorrow.